Oh, I'm back again very, very soon with another speed paint that is not terrible. I guess that's subjective, but I want to talk a bit about stories and storytelling and coming up with ideas, that kind of thing. Unscripted again because mostly I have this channel just to post videos. There's no real objective here other than to have content on the channel and hopefully some semi-decent content. So, into the video. As you may or may not know, you probably won't know, but I have recently finished a series called Long Distance Friends. It is still currently uploading to Tapastic on Webtoons. I'll leave a link down in the description. But there are only about 3 episodes left now, so it's soon going to be finished, and that will just be another comic out of the way, I guess. And I have since then thought of a new story for a short comic, and I'm still debating on what kind of style I should be going for, and I tried out this semi-realistic style and I'm not sure if I like it. I'm probably going to try again tomorrow, see how that goes, probably do another video. So, stories. I believe one of my most successful attempts at writing a story is Yellow Feathers. Now, it's one thing writing a story and it's another thing making it into a comic. Making Yellow Feathers into a comic, it has definitely not been as much as a success as writing it, because no one's even going to read my scripts, I guess. So I can say a lot about writing that story, and the best thing I've found for something of that scale is to get your ideas down, write the whole thing once, go over it again, make even more sense, experiment a bit with ideas, especially if it's something like a fantasy story. You can go crazy. The idea at the end of the day is just to get what you want the reader to take from it into your script, as much as you can, really. I know I was always going back trying to add more of a fantasy element to the comic because I didn't think it was screaming fantasy enough, and I really wanted it to. So I found myself rewriting it a couple of times, and truthfully that has been going on for the past few years, but recently has been the most successful version of a Yellow Feather script, and I'm pretty satisfied with it. Long Distance Friends was written very, very differently because it was such a short, snappy comic. There wasn't a lot to think about, especially since it was set in the human world as well. There's no real 100% area where it is. They don't really talk, and when a form of communication is shown, it's not really able to be understood because it's not an Earth language. So it's set in the human world, but they're not really anywhere in particular, except for in my imagination, I guess. How I wrote that story was by not writing it at all and just writing the titles. If anything, the titles tell the story and nothing else. All of the rooms and settings were drawn on the spot. I just kind of went with the flow, really. This is all just a feelsy comic for me. I just did what felt right, and I published it. Is it the best thing in the world? Not necessarily. But I am going to see if I can do something in the middle of those two. Something not that grand that I need to write out my whole scripts multiple times in Word or whatever. I don't have Word anymore, but oops. I'll be using something like LibreOffice, Libre. I haven't started writing the scripts for it, but the idea is not something that I've forced. I never really force ideas for stories, and I don't recommend anyone else to force ideas for stories. They just kind of sneak up on you when you're least expecting it. The story for the new comic I'm working on came to me the moment I woke up from sleeping. I don't remember having a dream the previous night. I do kind of understand that the idea for the comic has been heavily influenced by a YouTube video I watched a month or two ago. So there's that. A month or two later, I wake up and have an idea for a story. I had wanted to write another short story, but I had no idea what I wanted it to be about. And I just woke up one morning with the idea. And how I plan to flesh that out a bit more is to just try and get my thoughts and feelings out on paper, written down in front of me, so I can see it and understand where this is going. I think it's also really important to try and have everything make sense. If you do not have a really heavily scripted comic, don't really worry about how these characters talk as much, because it's not really going to be that important at the end of the day. What's going to be important is the sceneries and how they respond to things, how they interact with things around them, how their feelings are understood by the audience. That's going to be what's really going to drive your story. And I understood that from writing Long Distance Friends, because that had pretty much no speech in at all, and everything was all emotion based and scenery based, and I do believe I got across the story I needed to get across semi-decently. But this is going to be, with the new story, it's going to be a little different. I think I already mentioned trying to make everything coherent and make sense, but I'm just going to delve into that a little bit more. The whole making things make sense idea, I don't think anyone can truly do it to their best ability if they do not have the whole story in front of them written down in one way or another, whether that's notes, whether that's, just talking. I do believe it needs to be written down so you can go over it and see if things don't match up. If the beginning and end don't make sense together, sometimes that will ruin it for you, and you can really only get to that point when you've written the script completely to its entirety. What else? Characters, I guess. I do believe that you might have an idea of the story before you have an idea of the characters, but I tend to have an idea of the characters sometimes and have an idea of the story first sometimes. For Yellow Feathers, it was definitely the story that came first, and then the characters came, and then the story changed. For Long Distance Friends, I do believe the characters came first, then the story, but it was a bit of a thrown together mess. With the recent story, I've thought of the characters and the story kind of came at the same time. I just kind of woke up and went, girl, horse, make it happen. And I thought of a story just like that. It's a spell. Maybe I should write that down in the Hanoyo and try and say it. If you do not know what Hanoyomi is a language that I made up, and it needs some work, but I'm trying my best. Also, stories are great. This is why I need a script. Darned it. I definitely need a script. If you're writing a story, I hope I've said something useful. I doubt I have, but I hope I have. Good luck with your stories and comics and art and everything. Have a good day. From Rain.